Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here doing another tier list because the last one went really well and nobody despised my opinions whatsoever. So we're going to do another one. We're going to be ranking the modern... Well, it's not really the modern series anymore, is it? What are we calling it? Doctor Who from 2005 to 2022, or Series 1 to Series 13, if you're that well inclined, or Series 1 to Flux as well, if you want to go there. Let's get into our tiers. So today we have John Cena as a top tier, because he is the peak of human excellence. The second tier is Would Binge. Now, I think that one's fairly self-explanatory. I'd binge that. Number 3, Rice Pudding. Does what it says on the tin. It's rice pudding, isn't it? If you saw my last tier list, which I highly recommend you do if you haven't, I put jammy dodgers or fish custard in there. I put a Doctor Who food item in there, so I thought I'd do the same here as well. Then number 4 is Should Have Stayed in the TARDIS. So I'll still go on the adventure, but should have stayed in the TARDIS, really shouldn't have gone out to see what happened there. And number 5 is Dead Trim. Needs to go back to the shop, needs to get fixed up, something needs to happen here. So Dead Trim is at number 5. I have no idea what this weird order is. I can't lie, I did just get this from from the tier list website. So they are in a bit of a bizarre order. I reckon we just follow this order. Let's get a bit crazy on today's video. Series 9. This is Capaldi's second series, obviously. Some real highlights in here. I mean, you've got Heaven Sent, which might be the pinnacle of Doctor Who. I think it topped the IMDb top 10 a while ago. I could be wrong there. Really good episode. You got Face the Raven, that's really good. You got the Lake 2-part, which I think is underrated. Zygons is really good. Hellbent's not that bad. I used to really dislike this series, mainly because of the Ashilda and Me storylines. And also, I didn't like the opener that much. I've kind of mellowed on this series. The more I've gone back to watch it, I still think the opener is terrible. And I'm not really a massive fan of the Woman Who Lived, Girl Who Died 2-part myself either. But when you look at an episode of a series of 12 episodes and you don't like 4 of them, that's not a bad innings. So normally it probably would have gone and should have stayed in the TARDIS, but I'm going to put this in Rice Pudding. I'm actually a fan of it. I actually like Hellbent as well. I think when you look at it through the prism of it being a Doctor not willing to let Clara go, rather than Clara not willing to let the Doctor go and all this. It's not really about Clara. It's all about the Doctor. I've always found that a weird, weird thought. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's all about Clara towards the end." It's not really. It's a character piece about the Doctor. Flux. Here's the interesting thing, right? Because if you guys are long-term listeners, you'll know that when I first watched it, I probably would have put it in John Cena, It's certainly not going in John Cena. Would binge. Now, it's 6 episodes long, so I probably would binge it in a go. If it was including the specials afterwards, it might get into would binge, because I loved it. Eve of the Daleks, and I loved Power of the Doctor. Still do. Love it. Led to Sea Devils does let it down. I'm going to go, it's better than Series 9, but I'm just going to put it in Rice Pudding. I think there's some really high highs in this. I think it's like the best Weeping Angel episode we've ever seen. In the Village of the Angels, the Sontaran 2-part is great. I think the opener is great. Where it lets itself down is certainly in the resolution. There are certain things that happen that I really don't like Jericho just being forgotten about, and the as of yet unborn child, and Vinda not really giving a crap when all that sort of stuff. I think Vinda was a really wasted character as well when you go back and rewatch it. Belle was actually way more interesting. Swarm on Azure looked great, don't really do much. So yeah, it's tricky. You do get some really good stuff here with your main core 3 characters though. I think Jodie's brilliant throughout. I think Mandip, this is her best series. John Bishop was a nice addition to the series. Here we go. Series 8. This is Capaldi's first series. For me, this goes Dead Trim. I love Peter Capaldi. I love the 12th Doctor. I just don't like this plot line at all. And that's going to be a massive thing for me. If I don't really like the overarching theme, I'm not going to love the whole series. And this, for me, does let it down. It's got some bangers in it. I quite like Into the Dalek. I have a great time of Robot of Sherwood. Love the Mummy on the Orient Express flatline. But that's kind of it. After that, we're struggling. I think Deep Breath's a long, elongated start. I think Listen is one of the Moffat's worst scripts. No, I'm a Stephen Moffat fan. That's my favourite era, as you'll probably see later on. But it's one of his worst scripts. Just don't get on with it at all. The finale is the worst finale in Doctor Who. Worse than Ranscraft Coloss, only because it's longer. Clara and Danny's relationship's really bad. it doesn't really hit the heights yet of what Capaldi could do either. And unfortunately, there's only two like really really good episodes in the series, which is the ones written by Jamie Matheson, who is fantastic and did some really good scripts in this block. Missy is probably at our worst here. Just yeah, not doing too much for me, to be honest. She gets so much more interesting in the later episodes, that's for sure. So for me, Missy is not great. The whole plot of at the end of every episode somebody would die and they just randomly show up, and then you get to the horrid finale where it's like, oh, everyone that you got cremated felt a really terrible burning feeling. Fuck, what are we doing here? I don't know, it just didn't work for me. It's way too dark. It's not really what I like from Doctor Who. There's that cool little Clara like fake out at the start of the credits, though, but that goes nowhere. So yeah, dead trim. Needs to go out to the shot. Series 4, considered the peak of Doctor Who. Am I going to go against that? No. Series 4 is fantastic. It's incredible. The run of episodes we get is fantastic. I don't agree that it's flawless. I think there are certainly some flaws within it. I don't really like Friars Pompeii that much. I know people love that one. I love the ending with Donna. I think that's fantastic. I think there are moments within it. Obviously, you get Capaldi for the first time. So I love Capaldi in the first 4 of these. But then you do have the Sontaran two-parter. I'm sorry, it's just not that great. You get the Doctor's daughter again, which isn't that great, and then after that, you get a Unicorn and the Wasp, which is alright, really fun, and then you get to the bangers after banger after banger, and the finale. You guys will probably know my opinion on the finale. We did a podcast on it recently. If you haven't seen that, go check that out as well, because that will further articulate my opinions. I think Journey's End lets it down. I still do. And nothing's going to change my mind. I don't think I'm ever going to change my mind on that, because I think Stolen Earth is possibly the best setup to any finale we get. And Journey's End does let it down a little bit for me. But it's still a really good series. Tennant and Tate are fantastic. The way it feels kind of like a Avengers Infinity War type series, with every episode kind of interlinking. You see Rose on screens and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it is quite good. I'm not gonna complain too much. But yeah, is it the best one? Maybe, but it's in the John Cena category. Next up, Series 1. Where's it gonna go? Wood Binge. I love this. I actually really like it. I wind people up on the podcast because I don't. I really like Eccleston. I really do. Again, though, it does fall victim to having a few mid-episodes in there. For me, especially, End of the World, I don't like. Long Game, I don't like. I'm Quite Dead, I could live without. And the Celine two-parter. But once again, when these episodes are good, they are fantastic. Rose is one of the best beginnings to any reboot ever. You've got Dalek in there, which is fantastic. You've got Bad Wolf, Partner of the Ways, Empty Child, even Boomtown's fantastic. That's an underrated classic, Boomtown. This is the first time that RTD ever did the whole one word goes around the universe sort of thing, and we get to that point. It works well in this series, I think. I think there are some series where it doesn't work as well, but this one it works. Next up, Series 12, the first series of the Thomas podcast, actually, halfway through. Where am I going to put this? I'm going to put it in Wood Binge. Spyfall is a great opener. The finale, I think, is pretty good, actually. I think that gets a lot of stick. I don't really understand why. Well, I do understand why, but I just like it. That was a bit of a dull statement from me, because you're either with the Timeless Children or you're not. You like the idea or you don't like it. For me, I quite like it, but I get why people don't. But yeah, that just saying, I quite like the series. I think there are only a couple ones that let it down. I think Praxius is all right. I don't like Can You Hear Me? I think that one's a bit bad, and especially with the ending with Graham. No, thank you. But overall, as a series, I think it works well. You get some nice cameos midway through. You meet the Fugitive Doctor for the first time. So overall, it works quite well, actually. I think it does land, but again, it all depends on if you like that. The Timeless Child. I think if you don't like the Timeless Children as a concept, that episode is painful, because that's all it's doing is building up to this thing. I also like the Cybermaster as well, and Ashard was great in this series. Next up, Series 6, Top of Wood Binge. No, again, this is one of those series that kind of hinges on whether you like a certain character, and that character is River Song. I'm a big fan. I think River Song's fantastic, and I think there isn't really that many bad episodes in it. It does have my least favourite Matt Smith episode in the series, though, with the Rebel Fleshly part. But every other episode, in my opinion, yes, including the James Corden one, is good to watch. Curse of the Black Spot gets a bad rap. No, I like it. This introduces the silence. Potentially has one of my favourite openings in the Day of the Moon. And I mean, can we just have a minute to discuss how fantastic A Good Man Goes to War is? It's got Doctor's wife in it as well. It's so close to being in the John Cena tier. The thing that lets it down for me is the fact that it does end with the Wedding River song, which is kind of a bit of a meh finale. Right, series 2. Controversy is going to go in dead trim. Now, if I'm going to get hate for this one, aren't I? I just know I am. But it's not good in my opinion. It's the one RTD series I actively don't really like rewatching. It's tough to describe. Basically, again, Rose and the Doctor I don't think work in this series. I think Rose isn't written as well as she was in the first series. There are some good episodes. School Reunion's decent. It's decent fun. It kind of gets overrated a bit in my opinion. People give it like a 10 out of 10. It's not. It's like a 7 in my opinion. Tooth and Claw I think is underrated. A New Earth, bad. Idiot's Lantern, bad. Love and Monsters, it's alright, but not great. Fear's awful. The finale, it's so much worse than Journey's End, because Journey's End, at least, is a solid episode. Doomsday builds up to this war between the Daleks and Cybermen that you just don't see because the Daleks decimate them like that. And it's not fun to watch. You get some interesting bits, but not really. I guess Jackie being in it is fantastic for that little bit. And then also the tortured wording. It kind of just felt like a bit of a rehash of the first series, and I think this is possibly its weakest use. Series 7, my first series of Doctor Who. Yes, I started watching Doctor Who when I was 12. Please don't at me. 10 years later, it's a personal list. Screw it. I'm putting this in the would binge category. I'd probably put it there. Okay, that's fair so far. That's probably the order I'd put it in. I love this, especially the second part. I know that people would say it's the weaker part, and objectively, it probably is. But personally, these are the episodes that I go back and I go, this was my first exposure really to Doctor Who. So I do like this one. I think there were some really good episodes in it. Regardless, I think, Power of Three I've always loved. I can always get on with episodes like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, Rings of Akaten. Outside of the Daleks, I also quite like as well. I think it's a really good introduction to Oswin or Clara. It doesn't really have an arc, yes, but they're just fun adventures. Like even the Crimson Horror, again, which we did in the podcast recently, is a fun adventure. There are some clangers, like Cold War's not great. Journey to the TARDIS is pretty bad. Nightmare in Silver, I can watch those, so that's probably on me, to be honest. But I just like the series. I just like it. I can't really explain it. It's just nostalgia. But Angels Take Manhattan is a top tier episode, and so is Rings of Akaten. It's got two bangers in there. I even quite like Hyde, which other people don't really like, but I like it. Series 5, John Cena. It's my favourite series of the bunch. Yeah, I think it's great. I don't think there's a bad episode in it. I know people say, oh, the Silurian one's not great. Love it. Beast Below. People say it's not great. Love it. Maybe it's all just bias, but I love this series. I think this series gets a lot of love anyway, which I'm very thankful for. Rightfully so, in my opinion. Pandorica's my favourite finale. It's great. I think Matt and Karen's chemistry in the series is fantastic. Love the new TARDIS, love the new titles, love everything. River being a big part of 4 of the episodes in this series. All about that. At the end of the day, it's really good. And it was the start of my favourite era of the show, and it still remains my favourite era of the show. Right then, Series 3 is also going to go in John Cena. This is my favourite Russell series thus far. I could say thus far, I don't know, because he's come back. I think this one's great. Again, it's got a couple clangers in it, but then again, every series that isn't called Series 5 has that. I quite like the Vote Saxon arc. I think it works a bit better, especially with it being earthbound a bit more, and you kind of just sit in the background of things rather than being said all the time. And it's kind of like, if you didn't catch it, you're kind of more taken aback by it. It's the arc that I think rewards the most rewatches. Because you can slowly see the influence of Saxon every time you come back to Earth. I think that one works a bit better. I think Johnson's fantastic. Yes, I think the ending is a bit convoluted, and I don't really like the Blue Angel Doctor thing. But apart from that, I think Freddie Madgeman is brilliant within the series. There's a reason people want to see more of Martha. It's because she's brilliant, and yes, she is a bit shortchanged, just kind of being, the Doctor's rebound that he doesn't really want, sort of thing. But at the end of the day, her family's great. It's all really well cast. They return the Master as well in Utopia, one of the best 45 minutes of Doctor Who. So yeah, I can't really say that I'm too, I think that that's a fair placement. Series 10. There. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Series 10. I think it's one of those that I don't even think I appreciate it until I rewatch it. In my head I really like it, but it doesn't. Every time I watch a Series 10 episode, I always love it more than I thought I would. The first 5 episodes are just banger after banger after banger. I think Knock Knock is brilliant and potentially one of the most underrated stories ever. Empress of Mars I think that's great. I like the Monk trilogy in concept. I think the execution's a bit mudded. Again, it always comes down to when you get 3 different writers and directors to write 3 parts of the same story. Like we saw it with the Skywalker, the new Star Wars Disney films. It should have all been written by one person. Obviously, I am all about that being Toby Whithouse because I think he's the best of the bunch, but I digress. Yeah, I just think it's really good and it has the best finale in one Doctor Who, potentially. That or Pandorica. They're both fantastic. I've realised that I've not put anything into the Said in the TARDIS, so I'm going to quickly rearrange. So I'm going to move. I think that is a cut above that. Yeah, so I'm happy with how things are at the minute. Maybe. Yeah, I think that's good. Moving that down a rice pudding. And that, yeah. Because I've been it's a bit top heavy. Series 11, Jodie's first one. Again, really solid, this one. Gets a lot of hate. And there are some clangers. The ones I come to mind, I think of Radsquav Colossus, Arachnids in the UK. They're not great. But when the series is good, it is brilliant. I think of Woman Who Fell to Earth, Ghost Monument, Rosa, Demons of the Punjab. It takes you away. Like, there are bangers in here, and it is great. Yes, the companions aren't all well used, but I think Bradley Walsh, this is best series by far. But even then, Witchfinders is quite good. I think this series is slept on, to be honest. Maybe it's just because I'm a fan of the era. Others people aren't. I fully understand that. But I'm going to quickly do some last minute rearranging. I'm going to put this in John Cena. I've just been looking at it the entire time. I might put Series 1 down here. I really like Series 12. Flux, maybe like that. Maybe that's what I do. I'm gonna go with my head and put Should Have Stayed in the TARDIS for Series 7. I do like it, but there are some clangers in there. So there you go, guys. That is my tier list. What are your guys' thoughts, though? Please do let me know down in the comments down below. I genuinely love to hear them. If anything, you're like, what? How is that there? Please, let's have a conversation. Let's chat. But remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys all soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.